I was laughing. I was smiling at the little boy with his arms up like a hero. I hope you guys saw the snippet of the Old Path, which is a nonprofit in Memphis, talking about the young boys in that shelter who won't take off their hero hoodies. That was a good story. Anyway, let me get back on track. This is Tuesday, the 14th day of December. This is the 57th episode of season 2 of the Be Your Own Hero show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. I'm your host. I'm Sekouwrites. I am a professional creative and the creator of the HERO Ministry movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire the unhoused community in a number of different ways. Shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me the space and opportunity to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero. You can check them out at ntmedia.org. You can check out the other programming on the network. You can also make a donation. And if this show provides any value, feel free to make a donation, like, comment, share, buy something from the Hero Shop, etc. All right. I think that's it for the intro. Shout out to all the people joining in. Shout out to the people in the chat. Shout out to Nan, to Tim, to Rev Mel's mom, to Fee King. And there's the cup of coffee from Tim. Appreciate that. And I'm loving this light, right? I was moving around right before the show started, trying to get the light just right. I'm loving this morning light. Okay, so let's do the Hero Ministry Movement news first. So, charity run. Well, I guess it's not a charity run anymore, or not currently a charity run. Right now, this is day 197 of me running every single day, at least a mile a day since the first day of June. Today is the 197th day of that. Today I ran at Fisk University. Shout out to Fisk. Check out my run report if you want to get the right as I finished jogging report. Like I usually try to do it immediately, like seconds after I finish jogging. So if you want to get the run report, check out my social media. Oh, did I post it? I didn't post it yet. I did it, but I didn't post it. So check out my social media in about an hour. It'll be up. Okay. So I've been invited to figure out a charity run by 2 different people now. So I'm very excited about that because as I've said here, running for myself now doesn't have the same gravitas that it did before I did the charity run. There was something about that pull of running for others that was really helpful for me that I didn't realize at the time. I didn't realize until later that was really helpful for me. So I'm very excited about figuring out what this next phase of the next charity run will be. So stay tuned for that. And also, we won't get started on that until we get settled with the Fab Five. That all the Fab Five get their money and get squared away. So we're going to do that this week for sure. Get that done. Okay, so truck drop stories. As you know, if you've been watching the show, I've been telling stories about driving the Nissan pickup truck around and giving away things from the Nissan pickup truck. I paused because I need to do that little bit of an intro. So again, shout out to Nissan for letting me borrow the Nissan Frontier Pro X truck. So what I mean by borrow is I sometimes write car reviews. Like some people write about new refrigerators or new TVs. I write about cars. And it's a long story how I fell into that, but that's what I do sometimes. And so what I did is I put 2 things together. I test drove a car at the same time when I knew that I would be using that truck to help out with the Hoodies for the Homeless event, the 4th annual Hoodies for the Homeless event that was created by Project Love Strong and that was held a week or 2 ago. So in the meantime, since that event, I've had food and small items in the truck to hand out. And my stock has grown. I got more stuff from Miss P to Professor Frentress at Fisk University. She gave me more stuff that I've been handing out too. So I got masks and sanitizer and chips and tuna and a number of different things. Anyway, I've been telling these stories about me handing things out from the truck. Okay, so that's not what I have today. Today is I dropped the truck off story, and it's really quick. But sometimes they pick the vehicles up for me. This time, I decided that I wanted to drive the vehicle to the headquarters. I haven't been there in a while, and so I drove this Nissan truck to Nissan headquarters, which happens to be just outside of Nashville. It's a little bit south in Franklin, and they have their own street. Nissan headquarters is on Nissan Street, which is pretty dope. So anyway, I drive onto Nissan Street, and as soon as you get onto the street, there's nothing there except Nissan headquarters. It's the one address on that street. And so there's this huge campus, and all I can see is grass and the huge Nissan structure in the background. And I'm thinking, okay, this will be a good photo of me shooting the photo of the truck in front of the headquarters. So there's no one around. The driveway is completely empty. The front lawn is completely empty. There's no one anywhere in sight. So I pull over and I get out. I'm taking photos. And as I'm taking photos, my phone rings. And it's my contact from Nissan. I'm like, hello? He's like, I can see you. I can see you out there taking photos. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, I'm telling you, it was empty. It looked like a ghost town. But apparently he was out there looking out the window. So I thought that was pretty funny. I got back in the truck, drove it up, and we did the drop right there at Nissan headquarters. I ran into some friends from Nissan that I haven't seen in a while, so that was good to see them too. Serendipitous, just happened to be good timing. So anyway, saying goodbye to the Nissan Frontier Pro X truck. Very happy to have had it. It was a great addition to what we did on, I don't remember the date, but at the Hoodies for the Homeless event this year. And it came in handy. Having all that storage space definitely came in handy. I will definitely be needing a truck for other events like this. So that's good to know. So again, shout out to Nissan. I appreciate you. Okay, so next up, another story, a Hoodies for the Homeless story. So there is a woman, I won't say her name, but there's a woman who has been involved in each of the events that have been created by Project Lovestrong since I've been a part of this circle. She's an unhoused woman, and she's always bright and cheerful. And if you look at any of my video recaps of the events, you'll usually see her because she's got a big personality and she's dancing and doing stuff. And I was very pleased to find out that, well, let me back up a little bit. So I saw her again this year. She was the very first person I saw. And usually she's the first person I see. Like as soon as I pulled up in the truck, she was there to greet me and say hello and, tell me where to park and all those kinds of things. And then later on, I found out that she now has a home. So yay, shout out to her for being, I mean, not everyone wants that. Let's be clear. Not all of the unhoused want to move from being unhoused to housed again. But she did, and she's been able to do that. So I'm very excited about that. I actually told a story about her last year that you may remember if you've been following me. I said that I was walking around downtown after I dropped my mom's car off at the shop. I was walking around downtown, and I had my Hero hoodie on, and I heard someone yelling. I think she was yelling Hero. And I looked up, and it was this woman. And she was walking around downtown also, and also she said she was hungry, and I bought her some food, and we chit-chatted for a while. And so there was that whole interaction that she and I had then. And I just was moved by being recognized as an ally to that community. That she knew that she could talk to me. She knew that she could ask me for food. She knew that I would be supportive of her. And so I'm very proud of her and very proud of Project Lovestrong for doing all the work that they do, that they could move someone from unhoused to being housed. Like that's amazing. Like that's what it's all about, helping people do what it is that they want to do. So shout out to that. So that is my Hoodies for the Homeless story. Okay. Oh, sidebar. I like to let the unhoused order food for themselves. There seems to be this dynamic when I'm buying them food where they want me to do it all, or they feel like I should be doing it all. And instead, I invite them to order whatever you want, and I'll pay for it. To give them the agency of stepping up to the counter, of interacting with people, of behaving as if in some way. So I hope that that's empowering. It seems to have been at the times that I've done it. But that's just one of the things that I try to be mindful of. I've tried to be mindful of not taking care of things for them, but letting them take care of things for themselves, and I'll just pay for it. Okay, so moving on to the money. We're gonna do our affirmation and then talk about some abundance right quick. Our affirmation is, I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Okay, so I mentioned this again yesterday. I mentioned it several times last week, and I just want to ping it again. These are the habits that have been noticed by the pundits out there. That poor people spend money. Middle class people save money. The wealthy invest money. And I think it bears repeating. I may say it every day just to drill it into our subconscious. Investing is not optional. You want to be wealthy. You want to move from where you are to where you want to be. You've got to start investing. You can invest in yourself and you can invest in assets, but you need to be investing for sure. Okay, so today I decided to look up the source of that quote. And I couldn't find the source. I'm going to have to go a little further down the rabbit hole. But what I did find was this article written on the NPR website. And the article is entitled, How the Poor, the Middle Class, and the Rich Spend Their Money. And I say article, but it wasn't really. It was a small write-up, but mainly it was kind of like a chart of how those three groups spend their money. And I found it very interesting because across the board, in most of the categories, the spending amounts were about the same. The differences were negligible. Like the amount of money spent on groceries, on restaurants, eating out, on housing, on clothing, shoes, etc. All those things were pretty much the same for all three groups. Where there was a difference, I mean, you already know one of them, right? You already know the answer to one. Where there was a difference is the wealthy spend significantly more on investing. Significantly more money is spent by the wealthy on investing. That's one thing. And that shouldn't come as a surprise given the quote. But what surprised me was that there were some other areas where the wealthy spend much less than the poor and the middle class. And one of those areas was health insurance. I thought, that's interesting. And the other area where the wealthy spent a lot of money, much more money than the poor and the middle class, is education. So education and investing, and not just college education, not just private schools, also self-education, courses, a curriculum for self to invest in themselves. Okay, so those two things are interesting, but I really was interested in the fact they spend less on healthcare. So I sat with that for a minute today, and immediately what floated up was this memory of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine who's very wealthy a while ago, some years ago, and he said some things that really shocked me. And I don't even know why he happened to share it, but it just really blew my mind. He said, we were talking about insurance, I think. But what he said is that essentially rich people don't have insurance. And I was like, wait, what? Like we were talking about health insurance. I was like, I don't understand. He was like, no, we don't have health insurance. And we don't pay market value. Like, wait, run it back. Let's start from the beginning. So this is what he said. He said that he doesn't have health insurance and the other people he knows that have high net worth don't have health insurance. And when they need something done, they come in to say what it is they need to have done, and then they negotiate the price. And I'm like, you negotiate the doctor's prices? He's like, yeah. I was like, all the time? He's like, yeah, that's what we do. So I just kind of discounted it at the time because I was like, I don't know what that's about. But that's what this reminded me of. When I saw this chart, again, this is on the NPR website, and it shows that the wealthy spend significantly less on health insurance. And I was like, oh, I think that's what that is. I think that's what that is. Now, I am not by any stretch suggesting that you go out and cancel your health insurance. I am simply saying that there are levels to this. The things that we don't know, we don't know. And I'm being broad in general and assuming that we're all kind of in the same financial space. But there are worlds upon worlds, worlds within worlds. And if you don't know, you simply don't know. So the takeaway is invest in yourself, also invest in whatever assets you can afford to invest in, and be open to what other people might be doing that we don't know about or that you don't know about. Just be open to finding out more. In other words, don't just rely on me. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't just rely on me and the information that I'm finding out. Go out there into the world, have conversations with people, especially with high net worth people, about what they're doing. Not just about their fancy new car, their fancy new house, but the how to, the behind the scenes, because you might get some information that you would not expect. Okay, so all that reminds me of Wall Street Trapper in a way. I was watching some of his videos yesterday, I think, and he was lamenting the fact that there are people who are suggesting that you invest, but those people who are suggesting it aren't really investors themselves. So I just want to raise my hand and just remind you that I am new to the world of investing. This is not something that I grew up with. This is not something I've been doing all my life, and I just decided to start talking about it. That's not, for those of you just joining us, that's not what's going on here. What's going on here is I started investing kind of by accident during the pandemic, and I was like, wait, why is this not as hard as I thought it would be? And yes, when I had a 9-to-5 job, I invested in the 401k and all of that, but I didn't really understand it. I made some money off of it, but I didn't really get it. And so doing it this way, bit by bit, has been much more instructional for me. And I have been invited by you out there in the world to talk more about my findings about money as I go. So just a reminder, do your own due diligence, start delving into this information for yourself. YouTube is your best friend. Just go to YouTube and type whatever you want to know about. I've learned about some fascinating things as I've gone. And again, like this insurance thing makes me want to go down the rabbit hole about that and discover some more there too. Because, and this is a bit of a sidebar, but it also reminds me of a friend of mine who, at least, I think it was about a year that she decided to not have health insurance on purpose, but still go to the doctor. And she said that the quality of service she got from going to the doctor who would not take insurance was unbelievable, like unbelievably different. That things were brought up by the doctor that had never even been mentioned before. The interaction was better. The level of quality was better. Like everything was better across the board because it removed the insurance companies and the whatever those mechanisms are behind the scenes. All that was gone because she was just paying out of pocket to the doctor. So there's that too. The wealthy may be paying out of pocket for healthcare so that they can get the best healthcare and not have to be worried about what one pharmaceutical company is saying to the doctor about, hey, we'll give you a bonus if you promote this product. Those kinds of behind the scenes mechanisms. Okay. No more sidebars. No more sidebars. All right, so it's right after 10 o'clock, so let me just reset the room. This is the Be Your Own Hero show. This season 2, we're talking about spiritual abundance. This show starts earlier now. It now starts at 9:45 and goes to 10:15. So if you're just tuning in at 10 o'clock, tune in a little bit earlier or watch the replay or both, because we've been talking about things for about 15 minutes now. Okay, so all that said, I've got a couple stories listed here. And I don't know which one I want to tell. When I was preparing for the show today, I was like, I don't know which of these stories I want to tell. Maybe I'll tell them all, but I just feel like telling some stories. So I'm going to start with this one. I have a barber here in Nashville. Obviously, I have a barber here, and I have a barber in New York. And the barber in Nashville is funny. He's a funny guy, and he has all these stories all the time. Like, you never know what kind of story you're going to get when you go there. So I don't even remember how this came up, but he was talking about money. So there's some resonance here. There's some serendipity here. So he's talking about this couple locally that won a lot of money. Let's just say it was a casino. They won a lot of money. That information was publicly available. People knew that they won money. And over the course of time, there was a woman who approached the man in that couple and pretended to be interested in him. And he started spending money on her and then ended up stealing a bunch of money from him. Like stealing is not quite the right word. It's more like swindled. Like, she came up with some reason that she needed the money, and then he gave her the money and she vanished. So she got some money from him. So there's that. They reported it to the police. The couple reported it to the police. The wife more so than the husband reported it to the police. The police come out, they take a report, and they say that they're going to do a sting to catch the woman in the act. So they're saying they could do a sting with about $10,000 to $15,000, just something to entice the woman back to the situation, and then they'll arrest her and they'll find all the people who were involved and arrest them too, right? So you may see where this is going already. The police took the $15,000 and were never seen again. And then when the couple called the police to find out what was going on, the police said, we never sent anybody out. So those weren't police officers. So it was like a con of a con. The two police officers were actually con artists who were conning the couple out of more money to solve their problem of trying to catch the first con artist. The reason I bring all this up is because if you don't know what to do with your money before you get it, when you get it, it'll slip through your fingers, especially a large sum of money. And his story about those cons, while it seems extreme, it reminds me of other stories I've heard from NFL players and recording artists. Like, when the ship comes in, quote unquote, there's all this money, suddenly there are many people with their hands out. It doesn't have to be a con artist. It could be friends, family, etc. And how they've had to navigate that effectively without hurting people's feelings, but also without going broke by giving away all the money. And so often what people are approached with is an investment idea. Like, oh, I've got this business I want to do. Oh, I've got this investment for you. And so my point simply is, by practicing now what to do with money and where to put it, that means that when the ship comes in, you already know what to do with the money and where to put it. So the best thing to do is to keep practicing, even with the small amounts that you have available to you, assuming you have small amounts. I mean, I'm not trying to get in anybody's pockets, but I'm just saying that you can invest in the stock market with as little as $1. I've said that before, just a quick reminder. So you can invest and see what happens and learn how it works, so that when you get big, large sum of money, you can put it somewhere. Because you don't want to just put it in the bank. You just put it in your check-ins or savings, it's going to evaporate. It's going to slip through your fingers. And if people know about it, they're going to come take it. Okay, that's my alarm telling me to wrap it up. So I just wanted to put that out there. And that said, I'm going to talk about this more soon. But there's this company called Rap Snacks. I don't know if I've mentioned them before, but Master P is a rapper. He's pretty legendary for the way that he was able to get his recording deal. Very briefly, he sold his product himself out of cars, beauty shops, wherever he could sell it. Then he sold so much of his own products, his own CDs and tapes, that record companies approached him. So he was able to broker a much better deal. So that said, he now co-owns a potato chip company called Rap Snacks. Anyway, I was trying to figure out over the weekend if Rap Snacks is publicly traded, because I was like, let me buy some stock in this company. It seems to be doing really well. I see it in more and more places in Nashville every time I move around. And it's not publicly traded, but they, meaning Master P and his partner Rap Snacks, have created a stock market simulation app to teach the urban audience about how to invest in the stock market. So I'm going to download it. I'm going to check it out. I'll tell you guys about it. But that reminds me that there are many, many stock market simulation apps. So even if you have gotten off the porch, as I say, and you have invested in the stock market, you can still get one of these stock simulation apps and invest more fully, because it's monopoly money. You can spend as much as you want and see how and what to do in the stock market. And those decisions will inform your actual decisions, right? So then you know what you're doing. And so when the ship comes in, you know exactly where to put the money, how to put the money, how to stack it, how to turn on the dividend reinvestment, all those things, so that your money is safe. Okay, so I think I'm not going to tell the other two stories because my alarm already went off. I'm already running low on time, but I hope that you got something out of it. It's an interesting story, but it does have significance for planning ahead for what and how to manage your money. Okay, so quick resources before I close out. I added a book. I added a book called, it's an NFT book. NFT for Beginners, I believe. Yeah, there it is. NFT Art and Collectibles for Beginners. Check that book out. Also check out bigmoneycrypto.com. Just read the headlines until you feel like clicking into something. Also check out that show, Giant Beast That Is the Global Economy. You won't be sorry. You're going to laugh a lot, and you also learn something. Giant Beast That Is the Global Economy. Check out Rich Dad Poor Dad. He also has a game now. I say now, but he's had it for a while. There's a game based on the ideas of Rich Dad Poor Dad. I might check out that game. Thinking about the trial stock app I was just talking about makes me think about his game and how I think it's kind of like Monopoly money, but you learn about investing at the same time. Anyway, Rich Dad Poor Dad, there's a whole industry around Rich Dad Poor Dad. Also, The Science of Getting Rich. And most important, check out my podcast, Get Rich 101, in which I'm reading The Science of Getting Rich and talking about my understandings as we go. All right, so right after this is prayer time at 10:15, and right after that is Sit with Reverend Melissa at 10:30. Oh, shoot, this is great. Thanks, Linda. So I have negotiated successfully with the hospital system regarding a bill for my adult daughter's care when she was uninsured. It felt empowering. I'm sure it did. And lends credence to what I'm saying about the ability to negotiate with entities that you would not think would allow you to negotiate. So there's something to be said for that. There's something to be looked into there in terms of how the wealthy manage insurance and how they manage healthcare. All right, so I'm closing out. Keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own hero. Remember that now is better than perfect, and apply that to investing. Don't wait. Start investing, even if you've only got $1. Invest that dollar and see where it takes you. All right, I'll see you tomorrow at 9:45 a.m. Eastern.